Please open your heart and your mind like you always do. I want to tell you an incredible story about our caregiver. First of all, it took us many months to find a caregiver that was available for the hours that we needed. We finally found her. She's amazing, but we can't offer her the hours currently that she needs financially because my parents are paying out of pocket right now, waiting on the Washington State government agency to accept her application. She is certified with the state of Washington, and it's a long process. So I'm not going to tell you her name because I want to protect her identity. She is from Venezuela, and yes, she is very much illegal here in the United States, and so are the 2 or 3 family members that came with her. She is originally from Venezuela, and she came to us as a caregiver, which is something that you must be certified for in order to get paid for in the state of Washington. However, it is one of the lowest certifications you can have because it doesn't cost that much money. Wait for it. She is a medical doctor, a pediatric doctor that used to work in the hospital ward in Venezuela. What happened to her in Venezuela was that there was a major shortage of medicines and resources for the children that came to the hospital. It was such a huge problem that they were turning patients away and unable to give the children the necessary medications, surgeries, resources in order to actually be able to help. Imagine being a medical doctor in a facility that has no resources, so your hands are tied. Because of this, she and other doctors in the same organization, the same hospital, put together a protest. The protest was so supported and got so big that the government was informed and dictated targeting each of the doctors and nurses and those that were advocating for these children, that they were now an enemy of the state, that they were in effect terrorists of the government of Venezuela because they were sticking up for and protesting for children's rights. She has 6 brothers and sisters. No, she has 8 brothers and sisters all over the world, but many in Venezuela. So she definitely left behind family. She left behind her husband, and she was, in essence, deported and was accepted into the U.S. on asylum, like an asylum visa, something like that. She's been here with her 2 children and a sister for 20 years and has not been able to practice medicine because, as most of you know, medical certifications from other countries do not transfer at all to the United States, and let alone from state to state. As many of you know, you have to be recertified from state to state. For someone coming not only from a third world country, but coming from a third world country completely empty-handed and seeking asylum, which means they were in hiding, running, right? This was impossible. It wasn't even an option. Well, why didn't she apply for a grant? No, nothing that she researched was available for her. When I first met her, I asked her to tell me her story, and by the end of telling me the story, or let's be honest, by just 3 minutes into telling her story, it was still so emotionally fresh on her heart that she fell into my arms crying because of the devastation of being on the planet and not being able to do the work that God called you to do, just because of a lack of funds. Now, I've encouraged her since to maybe take a birth doula training, so at least she can be near children again and utilize her skills and make more money than she can, with us. There's no way she can make enough money with us in order to become a doctor again. But what she has decided since she started working with us is that she would get a CNA, a certified nurse's assistant certification, so at least she can be back in the field of medicine and be in a doctor's office again. This program, she shared with me, costs $2,100, and it's something I don't believe she has. She looked at me and she said with her eyes, and most of you know I'm a psychic, so she didn't have to say anything to me, that she's just going to trust God and register and trust that it will all work out. It pains me, the thought of her having to pay $1 single for any medical training after her entire medical degree was basically thrown in the garbage as a result of her sticking up for hundreds of thousands of children and their welfare. And I know that we can raise that money for her. This is also a time that is very scary for many Latino people as a result of all of the ratings of the ICE officers. I talked to her about that. I said, are you prepared in case someone comes to your home? She said yes. She said, I know I'm not supposed to answer the door. I'm supposed to ask them to give me a warrant underneath the door. And she has been educating her whole family. And to the point where she's having conversations ahead of time that, God forbid, if she or any other family member get deported, they have secondary plans of not going after each other and of taking care of each other's children. That's the kind of stress that's happening in this country right now for completely legal citizens that are working diligently to make their own American dream happen, whilst fearing being illegally deported or illegally imprisoned. So that's why I'm not mentioning her name, not because she's not legal, but because the country is crazy right now. Please look out on my page for a GoFundMe that I'm going to start. It's going to be time sensitive. She only needs $2,100, but she needs it by April 3rd in order to start classes. She already has other expenses she has to navigate, including buying books and her CNA outfit, clothing, that sort of a thing. And please, we're hoping she can still stay working part-time for us, but she won't be able to unless she has the support to help with the tuition. So I know this community has come together for many of my friends that I've called you to action over the years when my heart is just bleeding for them. And this is very personal to me. But it's also a way for those of you who have been crying for your brothers and sisters who are of, well, let's be honest, only people of color are being bothered. So, that are crying for your friends and family who are Muslim or of Persian descent or of Latin descent, and you are wanting to do something more than just repost something. This is something you can do to quite literally help my caregiver to access the next step to becoming a medical doctor again. And this is all I'm asking. Please don't repost this. In fact, I'm going to make it to only friends right now. And when I post the GoFundMe for the $2,100, just remember it's time sensitive. It needs to come through by April 3rd. Okay? I love all of you so much. Mwah.